I am right here on the beach at the Dalles here in Oregon, and this would be where the travelers would have the big decision to either float down the river in multiple different ways, whether they turn their own wagon into a boat, or they bought a boat from a Native American, or they rode on a boat, like a company that would organize boat trips down the river. So this was a decision where they either did that, or they would take the Barlow Road, which was to continue on down path in a wagon, which that came a few years later after thousands of people would get here and they would have to kind of wait. So sorry it's windy. Right on the water here with the Columbia River behind me, state of Washington across the way, got I-84 right here. So we're gonna take today, we're gonna go down the river version. Not gonna ride the river, unfortunately. That would be pretty cool. But gonna drive most of the way on US 30, which was also this has followed this trail for a while. US 30, AKA the Lincoln Highway, one of the original roads in the United States. It's a scenic kind of drive down the way through a bunch of small towns until we get to Troutdale. And that'll be our adventure today, is to get down to Troutdale. That's where the boats would be they would stop the boats and say, get out here, and then they would finish up their trip just a little bit south of there to Oregon City. So we're gonna take about an 80-mile drive down the coast and see what it's like. And as the travelers would be here, I'm sure it'd be very exciting, but also it's very dangerous to go down this river in a wagon or any kind of a homemade boat or anything like that. So towards the end, but they still had a little bit of work to do. we have gotten to basically where the pioneers would get out and then go across land to Oregon City, not very far away. Lewis and Clark actually found this river, and they were trying to go across it, but it's very soft and very sandy. They called it Quicksand River, and eventually it became the Sandy River. And as you go that way, it runs into the Columbia River that we've been following. So the settlers, the travelers, they would go down that Columbia River, and they would get somewhere in the vicinity of that and the Sandy River, and then they would have a decision to make again, whether they take their wagon, put it back into with the wheels on it and head that way, or whether they would buy a new wagon here, or whether they would just maybe walk the rest of the way. And a lot of the trail people would walk anyways. So you get this far, it's not that much farther to Oregon City, and they maybe just end up, taking their supplies and walking the rest of the way. So they were basically home free once they got here. Now that I'm back at the Dalles, I will start heading south just a little bit today, and I'll explain more about the Barlow Road tomorrow. What a great little town, 600 people, but awesome hotel, obviously, live band in a bar, and I just stumbled across all this cool stuff. So great place for the next to last day of the Oregon Trail. The final day on the Oregon Trail on this 15-day adventure always is bittersweet when you're coming to the end of these trips, and it's you think back about the journey. And I'm gonna, at the end of this day, I'll give my kind of overall thoughts on the trip, but also still got quite a bit going today. We're gonna take the Barlow Road, close as we can get. And there's back roads, and as you found out in the last few days, they don't always go all the way through. And hopefully today they do. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to be get stuck again and have to turn around, but hopefully it goes all the way through. This was the road that was built a few years after people started going down the Oregon Trail as kind of an alternate to going down the river. And so a lot of small towns, well, not a lot of small towns, but if there are towns, they're going to be small, mostly all the way until we get to Oregon City. We start the day here, and we're going to head straight south. There's a couple different ways you can go. You can see the Oregon Trail goes right along these red dots. There's no roads there. The closest we can do is take some side roads to get over there. So that's what we'll do, and then follow it as much as we can. You really can't go through here, so we'll have to cut over and hop on 197, where we connect again with the Oregon Trail at Ty Valley. Here we have a choice to make. We can either take the kind of more probably paved main road of 216 around, or more back roads, which we're gonna take. The Oregon Trail goes pretty close to these roads, so we're gonna take that as far kind of west as we can, and we're gonna try to find Barlow Road. The Barlow Road is mentioned right here, but it doesn't appear there's any road in that area that is drivable, at least. So we'll take kind of the Old White River Road as far as we can, and we'll see if we can connect with the Barlow Road somewhere right around here. So right through there is where you would connect with the actual Barlow Road. I don't know if this is gonna be out for the whole way of Barlow Road or if it's just a part of it. So there's another place that maybe connects up a little bit farther. Since we couldn't get on the Barlow Road, we're gonna go back on the Old White River Road. You can see it's very close. It parallels pretty much right next to the Barlow Road and the Oregon Trail. But that's the road it looks like we'll be taking most of the way, all the way until we get to the south of Mount Hood, right here near Government Camp. So that's the road that I was trying to enter previously. This is the end of that, and I have found this, and now that's me parked over there. And let's see, looks like we will be able to go down the Barlow Road after all. Well, I took it as far as I could. I saw the bridge out sign, but I didn't see a bridge. But obviously there's trees in the way now. And actually I walked down a little farther and continued to be more trees. So probably is a bridge out, but maybe the trees are there on purpose to keep people from going all the way to where the bridge is. So gonna have to backtrack and then take kind of the paved road that we were on. Still cool that I was able to go down the Barlow Road for even a couple miles. Very historic place, and right through here, I mean, this is not an improved area. This is probably not much different than what it looked like back when the pioneers were taking their wagons through here. Now the Oregon Trail goes right along US 26, and we'll take that all the way to the west
through lots of different little small communities.
I knew this was going to be a dead end. It said half a mile down the way, but it's pretty cool to continue driving along these roads, and it looks like a hiking path goes where the cars won't go. And honestly, I think coming to the realization that the trip is almost over and I'm just trying to extend it as long as possible, and I just happened to see the Barlow Road sign along the main road and thought, well, let's go check it out. Stay on US 26 to go to Sandy, but the Oregon Trail, those red dots, are more north of US 26, so we will take those back roads. Looks like probably a little more of a scenic drive until we get to Sandy, and then the Oregon Trail crosses over 26 and heads on 211 over to Eagle Creek. At Eagle Creek, the Oregon Trail would be crossing over the Clackamas River, but we can't cross over, so the best we can do is go around this way and then down to connect with the Oregon Trail here. And then once you get through this area, we're getting close to the finish. You can go a couple different ways, and I'm gonna stay just on the north here all the way into Oregon City. I have made it to Oregon City, and I'm currently in the Oregon City Historic Cemetery. And the reason I thought I would take a seat here and kind of wrap up the trip is because there's so many people buried here that made that trip that I just made. And you can look at all the different, headstones, and there's so many of them from the 1800s that obviously they would have had to travel here from that main period from 1843 to 1869. And after getting done with the trip in 15 days, and doing it the way I did it. Obviously, you just watched it. Just unbelievably remarkable to think about what those people did and how it took months and months and months to get here and how they must have felt when they got here. But, you know, going back and thinking about like the excitement of it at the beginning when you're at Independence, Missouri, the, you know, optimism, and then, you know, going through Kansas, which wasn't a real long trip, but, you know, was definitely getting the trip started. Nebraska would have been probably testing them because it was a long way through Nebraska and, you know, pretty straight and tough and, you know, probably in the summertime when they were going through there, it was probably pretty difficult conditions to go through there. Then they would come into Wyoming when they really would start to see some hills and mountains, and, you know, that had to have demoralized them. And but if they were able to keep going, they would have been met with more of the same in Idaho and you know, parts of Oregon. So yeah, it was just a remarkable trip to think about what they did and to get here and the adventure that it must have been. You know, it's not like back then you would take vacations and go see the world very often. But when you start thinking about all of those different states and all the different things that we saw here throughout this trip, if they got to the end, which most of them did, 95% of them did, then it would have been quite the story to tell and memories to have. Knew it would be a historical lesson in going through and learning about all the different places, but it was really, really scenic, especially the last half of it. So really a great mixture. If you're just doing it for a road trip, it's going to be a very scenic road trip, but you're also going to learn a ton of history. Hopefully these videos inspire you to go out and, whether it's the Oregon Trail or some other road trip, go out and learn a little bit about our country and have a little bit of fun along the way. So there's one last place to go. The official end of the trail is at the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center. I think that's what it's called. It's basically the Oregon Trail Museum here in Oregon City. So let's go there and wrap it up. It's so nice that they threw me a party. I appreciate you putting this on for me.
Our pleasure. We heard you were coming, so this is obvious what you impressed us with that we needed to impress you.
Would stop here at Alcove Springs. Whew. I ran here, I was a little tired. Hastings was so significant. There comes a train. Hastings was so significant that it became Conehead. Yeah, this is what happens when you go traipsing through to find a pioneer cemetery a quarter of a mile away through the weeds. Ouch. Those ghost town videos that I just my vehicle hit the runs. Anyone who finds this shirt funny gets extra cool points. Love me when I turn this into the rental car place. Good. I don't know what that is. I think they're making meth over there. It used
used to be red.